Alright, I spent tens of hours the past 2 weeks playing every single Half-Life game, and I'm gonna review all of them in this video. Especially since at the time of recording this, the games are still on sale for dirt cheap on Steam. Now, I do expect these reviews to be like not over 40 minutes each. I just want to give my quick opinions on all of these, and I'm also gonna say I clickbaited you slightly. Actually, technically not, because there's an asterisk in the title. I did not play Half-Life Decay due to it being a PS2 exclusive, and me not wanting to mess around with fancy mods or emulators. And I also did not play Half-Life Alyx, because my VR headset broke. Also no mods like Black Mesa or Hunt Down the Free Man. So, with that all out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Oh yeah, spoilers as well. Well, the first game is Half-Life, and do I need to say more? Half-Life was released on October 19th, 1998, and back then when this game was released, it was incredibly impressive. Most FPS games at the time were just mindlessly shooting enemies, and trying to get to the end of each level with little to no story. And if there was a story, it was just a small section in the manual or something. Said famously by John Carmack, who was one of the developers of Doom, "Story in the game is like story in a movie. It's expected to be there, but it's not that important." However, Gabe Newell took this statement and smashed it into the ground with the release of Half-Life. Despite the game being over 25 years old, the story is still fine to understand, even if it seems a bit confusing at times. However, being 25 years old does also mean it's a bit janky in some areas, mainly in the physics department alongside a few mediocre chapters. Also, yeah, I guess I should mention the infamous Zen section. This is something that's going to be a common theme in this video, but the further you get into these games, the more it just drags on and on and on. Though, to be completely fair, maybe that's because I played a lot of similar games within less than a month of me making this video, but the Zen section was never fully finished. In the 2003 leak, it was revealed that there were more Zen maps planned but never finished. The remake Black Mesa did finish these maps, but yet again that's irrelevant to this conversation. I'm also not someone who's too deep into the lore, but just for the hell of it. The outline of the story is that we play as a character called Gordon Freeman, but accidentally end up causing an alien planet to attack Earth, and the government starts hunting us down. You know, the average thing a 9-to-5 worker has to deal with. Now that is me horrifically simplifying games, but if you want a more in-depth discussion, it would be very convenient if there was a 3-hour-long video explaining the lore. So that's all I have for the first half. Wait, hold on. There are 2 extra expansions for it? Oh shit. Well, Opposing Force was the first one released in 1999, and it was very similar to Half-Life 1, obviously, though there are a few changes. This one is more slow-paced and has a greater focus on puzzles. The puzzles themselves are fairly easy to understand once you get a hold of them, albeit some of them can consist of stuff like go into a small part of the wall that's pretty hidden. And oh yeah, a few new weapons, with the most interesting being this grappling hook, which makes me think about questionable things. You also work with NPCs more often, which adds some more interactions to the game, which I like. Granted, it is hit and miss what does and doesn't require an NPC to do at times. And in Opposing Force, instead of playing as Gordon, you're playing as Adrian Shepard, who works for the military. Now on the other hand, there is Blue Shift, which is probably more similar to base Half-Life 1. This one is also more puzzle-based, and even slower than the other expansion. In this one, you're playing as Barney, trying to escape Black Mesa after the incident. Also, this one is far buggier, with me getting soft-locked and having to restart multiple times. Also, both of these are pretty short and take around 2 hours to complete. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Uplink. Though, it's just a demo of a scrap level from the game. I beat it in like 20 minutes. Okay, bye. Alright, here's what's probably considered to be the worst Half-Life game. Now, it is important to mention that Half-Life Source wasn't that buggy at launch. If anything, it was actually well received for being a decent upgrade to the original. Especially since at the time it came bundled in with Half-Life 2 alongside Counter-Strike Source. But somewhere around the mid-2010s, Valve just kind of forgot the fact this game exists, which has caused this game to become buggier and buggier as Valve updates the Source engine. I don't want to be here too long, so I'll just mention some bug highlights. Weapons disappearing, water being weird, reflections glitching out, I have no clue what's going on here, and most famously the floating scientist. Also, this game was crashing me so badly I had to do a hard reset on my computer to fix everything. And it's most likely the problems of this game are just going to get worse due to the fact instead of Valve fixing the game, they have just unlisted it on Steam as of recently, and just tell you to play the original. And the final nail in the coffin, just to show how much Valve does not care about this game. You know those HD models? Yeah, people already don't like them as they are, but in this version, they're literally from a fan project. So, why still play Half-Life Source today? Well, the main reason being that it's compatible with Garry's Mod, so if we're going to make some sort of machinima or just play with a few friends, go right ahead. Despite what you might think, this is nowhere near the most pointless game on the list, but we will get to that later. So here's probably one of the most revolutionary games of all time. Now for context, this game was released in 2004, and to be completely honest, it may just be better than most games that have been made in the past 5 years. The main thing this game had going for it was its impressive physics engine and graphics, which I should mention both still hold up today, with there even being a gun that's focused around moving objects with the physics engine. Like, this game feels really good to play. There was also a good balance between puzzles and combat for the most part. But man, as great as this game is, there are a lot of parts that just drag on. A lot of people point out Highway 17 and Water Hazard, and while yeah, these parts are annoying and do drag on after a while, the worst offender in my opinion is near the ending of the game. After Nova Prospect, there is this constant fight with Combine Soldier after Combine Soldier, and I feel like this could have been shortened a little bit. If I had to guess, I suppose the ending was rushed. However, Rainbow Home more than makes up for it. And also, this game probably had the most trouble development out of all the games here. Remember that 2003 leak I mentioned earlier? Well, time for a brief history lesson. In 2003, a German kid by the name of Axel Gamble, I probably pronounced that wrong, was very desperate to get more info about the game's sequel. So desperate, in fact, he ended up hacking himself into Valve servers. After getting a bunch of files from the servers, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna share some news with my friends. But this created a chain reaction, with those friends sharing the files with their friends, with those friends sharing files with those other friends, and eventually, someone leaked the files out into the public. Not only did this cause Valve $250,000, it has also made it clear that this game was nowhere as complete as Valve was saying, which cost them a bit of their reputation. I'm gonna add insult to injury, the game was also delayed by a year and a half. Valve would then spend a few years trying to find a hacker, only for them to turn themselves in with an apology, and while at it, also ask for a job interview. In what universe did he think that was a good idea? Axel would then fly to America to try and get a job interview at Valve, only to be arrested. However, in court, he would get very little punishment due to the fact that he wasn't the one who leaked the files. Now, again, that is horrifically simplifying things, but that's a simple outline of events. Also, just realized I spent longer talking about the leak than the actual game. Now, whether you like Valve or not, it is hard to deny how important and well this game has aged. And thankfully, the next few games are based on Half-Life 2, including the next one. Half-Life 2 Deathmatch is probably one of the more forgotten games on this list, which is actually kind of a shame because it's honestly pretty fun. However, it's another game that was kind of neglected by Valve. You see, Half-Life 2 originally did not come with any deathmatch mode built in, so a couple people at Valve went ahead and put this together within a matter of 2 weeks. And the first build of the game only had 2 maps and didn't have most weapons, including the crowbar. Not including a crowbar in Half-Life is like not being able to jump on enemies in Mario. Also, the 2 maps of this mentioned were edited versions of Half-Life 2 maps for deathmatch mode. But to be fair, the game has gotten updated over time, and like I said earlier, it's actually pretty fun. Being able to fling objects at each other using the gravity gun, and the more realistic physics, just in general made the game feel so much more fun to mess around in. Yet again, it's kind of a bummer this game isn't very popular. Though I can understand why, because I think most people are either playing Counter-Strike Source or Garry's Mod. Honestly, if any of you guys have this game lying around in your Steam library, give it a shot and I bet you'll have a decent time with it. Lost Coast was a scrap level from Half-Life 2 that would end up getting repurposed as a tech demo and was given out for free to anyone who owned Half-Life 2. The entire idea behind this tech demo was to show off the HDR lighting, and you can even go to some areas which show comparisons between the two. The level itself just consists of going up this mountain into a church and a fight with an airship, and that is really all I have to say. I think I beat this mod in like 20 minutes. I mean, there's this weird bug where if you fall into the water and you die, you get a missing texture. Yeah, let's move on to the next game. Why does this game even exist? Now, to be fair, similar to Half-Life 2, Half-Life Source did not come with a multiplayer mode bundled in. So, I can understand why there's probably some demand for a game like this. But at the same time, the original Half-Life had one bundled in, and it costs the exact same, and it was available on Steam as well, with the main issue being that this game came out in 2006. At that point in time, why even bother? For context, Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, Half-Life Source, Counter-Strike Source, and Garry's Mod were all out for 2 years at this point, and the original Half-Life was out for almost a decade. So not only was this game way too late for the party, it didn't even really do anything all too special or unique. What I find most funny is that the game's still up on Steam. The original Half-Life Source went down, but this gets to stay apparently. And if I had to guess, I suppose they wanted to make sure you could still buy Half-Life Swords, just in case if someone wants to use it for Gmod, but if that's the case, then why private the main Half-Life Source Steam page? So I guess with that out of the way, I should get into the game itself, and it's Half-Life 1 Deathmatch in the Source engine. Yeah, I know, how amazing. They did it, and they did it mediocrely. The game still has a good chunk of problems the original Half-Life Source did, and to be truthful, it's just a buggier and less popular version of Half-Life 1 Deathmatch. Even looking at the Steam DB page shows that the highest day of popularity for this version is far less than the lowest day of popularity for the original Half-Life. And the weird thing is, I actually remember putting a lot of hours into this for some reason. I don't know if I was just really that bored or whatever, but that's what happened. I spent too long rambling on this game, so on to the next one. Episode 1 and 2 of Half-Life 2 are continuations of the story. Both of them have a greater focus on Alex, and while Episode 1 is more focused on escaping City 17, Episode 2 is more focused on trying to get to the White Forest, with us still having one of the greatest cliffhangers in video game history.
Welcome to Half-Life 2, Episode 2. We are at the midpoint in our trilogy of episodes, which will conclude in Episode 3.
Mechanics themselves aren't very different from normal Half-Life 2 gameplay. However, you do have to defend Alex from getting killed. More so in Episode 1. Episode 2 is definitely the superior one. Not only is it double the length, but it's also kind of like a mini mix of everything in the full Half-Life 2. Episode 1 still has a good chunk of that garbage from the end of Half-Life 2, which I guess is understandable since it happens right after. Also, Episode 2 has a few stealth elements, which are kind of fun, while also being the nicest way you can traumatize 7-year-old me. So in general, I do think the episode's pretty fun, but if you just beat the main Half-Life 2 game, take a little bit of a break, so it feels more like an expansion to Half-Life 2, rather than more Half-Life 2. Did that make any sense? Probably not, but whatever. And those were all the Half-Life games. I mean, technically not all of them, but all of them that didn't have me spending over $1,000 on this video. For the most part, they hold up super well, even if they can drag out at times and feel a little jank. First, I'm going to say I will be checking out Half-Life Alyx once my VR stuff gets here. I'm supposed to be getting a HTC Vive on the 16th, so by the time I get that stuff, I'll most likely start making some reviews on VR games. I actually did have a Quest 2, but the screen died in an attempt to fix it. I just broke it even more. Anyways, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Follow me on Twitter, even though I hardly post there. So I suggest following me on GamesJolt if you want more frequent posts. I also have a Discord. If you want to talk to me, that's probably your best bet. And also subscribe to my channel where I make videos with Sharai. I promise we're working on videos for that. I still have no idea how to do my outro. So, alrighty, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.